Welcome back. How's it going? All right. Can you believe we're on episode 6 already? That's pretty crazy. Um, most podcasts don't last a couple weeks, so I'm pretty proud of this already. So, today we're going to get into some cool stuff. But, as always, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping up front. And then we're going to get right into it. I'm trying to get closer to the mic, so you can actually hear me. So it's kind of awkward, but anyway. So let's do some housekeeping. What was it? What do I want to talk to y'all about? Oh, we the whole point of this episode is the Texas Whiskey Festival, right? It was in Bee Cave, Texas, right outside of Austin. So we stayed in a hotel because I'm a procrastinator. I waited till the last 2 weeks before the festival before I booked a room. So I wasn't able to get one in Bee Cave. It was a little closer to Austin. No big deal. Nice hotel. We were like, all right, this is cool. We get in the room. We basically made a weekend of it. So we get to our room. Everything's fine. We go to dinner the first night. Everything's fine. We get back to the room and we're like, what is that noise? There's a noise in our room. We're like, what is that? There's nobody above us. We're on the 4th floor. And then I'm like, the only thing above us, they have a bar on the 5th floor. Well, it was the freaking bar making noise, which they do. But it was almost like they were sliding furniture along the floor the entire night till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, who knows. So my rant, I guess, would be that is super poor planning on the engineer or whoever built this stupid hotel that literally could hear everything going on up there, the music, everything. And this is a very nice hotel. It's nothing, it's not no Holiday Inn Express or nothing like that. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? This is horrible, but we made it work and it was fine. So that's kind of all the rant I wanted to go through. It was fine. All right, let's get into the meat and taters of it. So you're gonna want to stop right now. Pause it. Go get you a drink, cause this one gets a little crazy. All right. So the whole point of the weekend that we had was for the 6th annual Texas Whiskey Festival. They had it at Star Hill Ranch in Bee Cave. Amazing place, cool place. I'm not certain. I didn't do any research. You guys know how I do. I didn't do any research on it, but it looks like a old historic town. The ranch does, like an old Main Street town with a bunch of houses on the side, almost like they do like reenactments of old events or something like that. What was right there on the main drag. It was a little bit different this year than it was last year for me, especially because my wife went as well, which was awesome. She, those of you who know her know that she's not really into whiskey. Those of you who don't, now you do. But we also had invited my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law to go with us as well, just for something fun for them to do. My brother-in-law's not really into whiskey, and my sister-in-law definitely isn't. But it was just a fun thing. They live in Georgetown, which is close by, and they said, "Hey, we'll go. It's fun. It'll be fun. We'll hang out." All right, cool. So last year when I went, I was by myself, so I was more catered to do what I wanted to do, which, I mean, the whole point of going to a whiskey festival is to what? Drink whiskey, right? So it's I mean, we did that, don't get me wrong. But yeah, so we get there Friday night, my wife and I, and we go to the hotel, like I said earlier, and it was nice. It was fun. We went to dinner, had a really nice time at dinner. That was great. Woke up the next day, and then of course, we're looking for things. I went to, as a whiskey guy, you look for new bottles everywhere you go, because as you well know, every liquor store in the world, or in at least in America, has different bottles than the other. So it's kind of like Pokemon. You got to catch them all, right? So we we were going to this little mall area, outdoor mall area that we wanted to look around at. So we went over there and they had a Total Wine, and I was like, cool, I want to go to Total Wine. So I wasn't looking for anything in particular, but as one does, I went in Total Wine and was able to find some really, really great stuff. You'd be looking for those deep dives in the near future. I found some amazing Iron Root single barrels. I found a Yellow Rose 10th anniversary edition. I mean, yeah, I don't even know why those were there. I snagged the 2 bottles that were there. I found a really cool TX whiskey, which I'm on the fence with TX. I don't know how everybody else is, but I'm on the fence with TX. They're making their own stuff now, which is really cool, but and they say it's from Texas, so we have to take their word for it. But it was a bottled and bond, so minimum 4-year-old, but it was a single barrel pick of that, so that was kind of cool. I was excited about that. So we'll see how that tastes here in a little bit. I mean, not today or nothing, because I've got a long way to go before that's in the queue. That's what it's called, right? A queue. Anyway, so we did all that, and that was fun. And then one of the worst things that we did, and yes, I am gonna bitch about this. My wife was looking for some makeup, some certain makeup, whatever. So we went to Sephora. And those of you who are of the male persuasion know going into a Sephora is like going into the 7th layer of hell. It is the worst thing that a man could do besides go to the doctor, obviously, or something like that. But anyway, we went, and there was 8,000 smells that were instantly giving me a headache. But we made it work. I powered through like a real man. Anyway, no, but I made it work. It wasn't that bad. It was just a lot of people in there, and I'm a misanthrope, so I'm like, get away from me. Anyway, really, it was fine. And then we ate. We felt like we were back in high school again, because we didn't have kids. We were just walking around a mall. Who walks around a mall anymore? You know what I mean? It was an indoor mall too. It was like, what the heck is going on here? Are we in 1998 again? Anyway, so we were walking around, and we went to the one place to go to, which is the Cheesecake Factory. And so I was trying to have a whiskey weekend where it was only me drinking whiskey. It didn't happen, because I'm not trying to drink whiskey at 11 o'clock in the morning. I know a lot of people do, but I can't. I can't just rush myself into whiskey that early. Unless I'm on a podcast or something like that, then I'll do it. But normally I got to have a beer or a cocktail or something first, because just to kind of wake myself up. So I had a beer, and it was fine. And we left there, and we went back to the room and got ready to go. That was, whatever. And so we went to the festival, and it was acting like it wanted to rain, and I was like, don't rain out, please. This is not what we want to do. Not today. So we get there. It's about 10-minute drive. No big deal. And unfortunately, not unfortunate, I mean, it is what it is. We did not have like the VIP or the early access tickets, which an extra hour early, really, for me, wouldn't have really done anything, because the more you drink, the more you have to stay behind and not drink. So I was more than willing to get there a little later. So we got there, and waited for the brother-in-law and sister-in-law to show up, and they showed up, and then we started going. This is the only thing, and it's not even a downside to the whole festival, which was amazing. They had like 30 stinking Texas distilleries there, which was amazing. Anyone you could think of was there, including Garrison, including, Balcones, Iron Root, Andalusia, oh good lord, Shire, Lone Elm. Was Lone Elm there? I don't remember. Good lord, I forgot. Nine Banded was there. A bunch. I don't want to name them all. The only thing that I was a little taken back by was the fact that there really wasn't like a seating area to where you could like grab a drink, go sit down. You pretty much just had to walk from one distillery booth to the next, to the next, to the next. You couldn't really go like away from that area. And so for like my wife and my sister-in-law that didn't want to partake of the whiskey, they really didn't have anything to do. Like there was a lady selling like boozy cupcakes and stuff like that. Really cool, right? Really cool idea. But like that was pretty much it. There wasn't like really anything else. There was a guy making hats or sizing you for hats and stuff like that. But like there wasn't really any, I hate to say activities, because like we don't need to be entertained, but for them to do like even like a seating area where they can, they had some food trucks and stuff like that where you could go get a small bite and then go sit down at the table. You can enjoy your drink and go on. But yeah, they didn't have that. That was the only downside, and so that's very small. So there was a couple of distilleries I wanted to go to because I knew that they had some really cool stuff that they were coming out with. So, and like I said, my brother-in-law, he had never been. So it was one of those things where I was kind of leading the way, which was, for me, was kind of hard because there was quite a few people there. And like, I didn't really know where to go. I knew the ones that I wanted to go to, but I didn't, we were going to be there for a couple hours, and I didn't want to like go directly there and then be like, okay, now I'm done. Like I've had the 3 or whatever that I wanted to try, and I'm done. So I'm like, okay. So we went and tried it 1 or 2, and then I was like, okay, I need some water. And then, we tried to span it out as much as possible. And the one thing I will say that's really cool, and I know this is about a lot of the whiskey events that go on, there was not a whole lot of like very belligerent, drunk, like just, falling down type people. These people, for one, either knew how to hold their liquor, which, whatever, or they were partaking sparingly. They weren't trying to get, drunk off of it. The issue was I had that you could buy this little small whiskey glass at the gate, and it had Texas Whiskey Fest on it, and it was a cool little keepsake. Well, whenever you gave them that glass to give you some whiskey in, they would put quite a bit in there. Quite a bit might be half an ounce, but normally when you got a sample, it was very little, maybe 2 sips, you didn't get a whole lot because, when you got like 30 distilleries, if you want to go try all of them, you're going to be obliterated by the time you get done with it. So it's like, yeah. So we went to a couple, I can't even tell you the ones we went to. Well, we started off with Garrison because it was right there close to the front, and I wanted to open up his palate. Like I say, he's not really a whiskey guy. He drinks whiskey, but he's not really like a whiskey guy. So I said Garrison has their Honeydew, which is a honey infused whiskey. So I thought that would be light, and it's 40% alcohol, so he would be able to take it fairly easy, and it would open his palate up and stuff like that. So we started there, and I had the small batch, and after having it on the Pardon My American podcast, I was like, do I like this? Like I tried it again, and I was like, oh my, as I apologized to them at the last one, I know, but like, I'm like, I feel bad. Anyway, but it was good. So then we kind of moved on and kept going, and I'm trying to think of what else we had. But one of the ones I really wanted to try, and I know this is probably sacrilege for a whiskey guy, right? But it's whiskey adjacent, so, whatever. Iron Root Republic out of Denison. I'm going to do a deep dive on them soon, so don't worry. They created a brandy, right, called Sleight of Hand, and it is so cool. Like, I'm not a brandy guy. I've had a couple. I'm not like a expert brandy taster, but it is so different than whiskey, but it's very similar in some ways. So it was very, but they take, and I'm probably gonna butcher this because Josh Galladay was telling me, he was like, this is a 10-year-old cognac mixed with a 6 or 8-year-old brandy that they make in house, and then it was finished or what they call married together. Those two were married together in a 40-year-old cognac cask. Now, there was no cognac in the cask, but it was married together in that cask. So that cask has so much heritage and flavor just left behind in it. And I will tell you, I don't know what I was tasting, because like it's totally not grain heavy or anything like that, because it's made with grapes or fruit. I'm thinking it's all grape. And so like it was so floral and fruity, and just like you could get like some tannins and stuff like that from it, but it was so tasty. Like I wanted to have more. I wanted to have a bottle of it, but it's one of those things that hadn't even hit market yet, I don't think. So that's what's really cool about like these whiskey fests, is they're trying out their new things. Hey, this hasn't hit market yet. Tell me what you think about it. You're already getting customer feedback before it's even hit the shelf. And then that way, if you haven't bottled it, if you need to tweak something, if everybody's like, man, it's a little too hot or something like that, you can proof it down a little bit or something, But, so we were able to try that, and that was really fun. And then I said, well, if we're doing that, let's go to Balcones and, try some of theirs. And I let the brother-in-law try the Lineage, which if you've never tried the Lineage from Balcones, it's amazing. It is a lighter side to their Texas single malt. I feel it's lighter. It has a lot more fruit notes, a lot more, it's a lot of raspberry to me. It's super good. I can't keep a bottle in the house because I blow through it too fast. And so I don't purchase it a whole lot. But I got to try the Bottled and Bond rye whiskey that they're fixing to come out with. Like I said, new stuff they're trying. And their rye is so different than any other rye that I've had. It's like an herbal dark chocolate. It's so good. And this one's Bottled and Bond, so it's 50% alcohol, so it's not burning your palate. It's minimum 4 years old, so like it's super good, super dark too, because they're in Waco, so it's pretty warm there. It was so good. Definitely gonna try and find it when it comes to store, just to have one on stock. And then we just hung out and talked. Got to meet some people from the whiskey community, which was really fun. Got to introduce my wife to Moose, Moose from Andalusia, which I was like, how have y'all not met? I'm constantly talking Moose up, and I'm constantly talking my wife up to Moose. But anyway, so they finally got to meet, and I got to meet Moose's wife, which was cool because I had heard about her, but I was like, oh, you're real. Anyway, no, but so it was fun. We were just hanging out, and then we tried a couple of other little things, from the different distilleries around there. But one of the ones that stuck out to me the most, and then we'll get on with it, because I could sit here and talk about the damn whiskey all night, you know what I mean? And we're not going to do that. One of the other ones that really stuck out to me was Shire Distilling. Look them up. They're doing some really cool stuff. They do a lot of different types of whiskey, and I think they do a cinnamon whiskey as well. But the one that I really enjoy is, I'm gonna butcher the name. The name of the particular whiskey is called Percheron. I'm almost certain. And it is their bourbon, which is, they use French oak to age it or finish it or something like that. Well, I will tell you this, like that French oak does so much to that whiskey, makes it so good. Like French oak, normally it presents like a spicier, more tannic, almost baking spicy like cinnamon, clove, stuff like that into the whiskey, which is really cool. Um, this one that I had tried it once before, but it was the cast strength version, so it was barrel proof. Um, I got to try that, but this one was not the barrel proof, and of course my recollection of it is skewed from a year or whatever. But this one was a little lighter and a little, I'm not gonna say fruitier, but like you could still get all the dark notes and all the spice and stuff like that, but it was not as hot, I guess you could say, and so it was really good. I was looking a little bit more for some more of that heat, because with French oak you want a little bit more heat with it, but it was still excellent. If I could pick up a bottle, I would. I don't know how their shipping is, which is that's the bad thing with a lot of these Texas distilleries. They're like, a lot of their stuff is in-house only. So if you're ever in Houston or whatever, you might be able to find it. And, being the whiskey guy, I go to distilleries, but I really need to get get some miles in and go to some of these distilleries and, try the product at their house, because it does make a difference, and you support them locally, which is fine. So they're also, one of the other things that they do at the Texas Whiskey Fest, obviously besides give you whiskey, and here's the thing, they don't limit how much whiskey you can have. You can, like, with Balcones had probably one of the biggest lineups of whiskey that you could try. I mean, they probably had 10 bottles you could try, and you can sit there and try all 10. Now, obviously, most people in the business are professionals about it, and if they see you staggering or slurring a little bit, they're going to cut you off. So they don't really need like to police you or anything like that. But so like it's, I hate to say free reign, but it's pretty free reign for you. You go try and do as you wish, and which is really pretty cool. So one of the other things they do is they have a raffle, and the raffle goes to charity. I don't know exactly what type of charity it is, and I feel bad, and I'm sorry. But I got a couple of raffle tickets, 3 in total. And if you won the raffle ticket, you won a selection of 1, 2, or 3, and it was different bottles of whiskey that all these distilleries that were there that day, they donated. So no money's changing hands. They donated, and like some of them had like special gifts and stuff like that as well. And so it's just pretty fun. And then at the end of the night, they have dueling pianos that play, and they sing funny, silly songs. And, people by that time, people are, a little bit more intoxicated, I would guess, and they're dancing and acting a fool and stuff. And one of the cool things about what they do is, like, my wife, she was able to get in for a very reduced price, and she got what they're known as the designated driver pass. And so she's allowed to come in and do whatever, but she can't have any of the whiskey. So she can still eat the food and, see all the sights and stuff like that, but she can't have any whiskey, which was actually, it's pretty cool, and it's a very reduced price. So that's nice. And I think, I'm not certain, but I think on some of them you actually have to have a DD when you sign up. So that's pretty cool. And some people don't, of course, they come by themselves. But, you have to drink responsibly, especially at one of these things. Like last year when I went, it was super hot. It was in May. And so, like, it was super hot. And, like, they were having to ice their whiskey down because, like, it was burning when you would drink it. So, like, it made it a little bit more difficult. It affected you a lot faster, basically. So you couldn't try as many, or you shouldn't try as many. But yeah, so we were just hanging out, talking to different people and stuff like that. And then at the end of the night, they did the raffle, and they announced the first person cool. They won the first bottle, the first package, which was kind of the one I wanted if I were to win, because it had Andalusia and it had Iron Root and it had something else, a couple other ones that I was like, hey, that's cool. And then the second one had a Balcones and it had something else and something else. Some really, I mean, we're talking good whiskeys, like, and so then they announced a second person, and I'm like, okay, well, it's no big deal. I didn't come here to win. Then they announced a third person, and it was me. Yeah, how did that happen? I have no idea, but it was me, and I won the last package, and so I had to go in the little back area where they were selling things and pick up the package. And come to find out, it was like 9 bottles of whiskey, or 10 bottles of whiskey. It was a lot. 95% of them were ones that I hadn't even had before, or maybe 90. I think I had only had 1 or maybe 2 out of the, and that might have only been a sample, And so I was pretty excited. But there was one in there that I really didn't want. It was a flavored whiskey. So me and some of the other 2 that had won, we were bottle swapping right there. And the one was like, oh man, I really wanted that whatever flavored whiskey. And I was like, oh, well, you have this, so give me that one and I'll trade you. And so it was really fun. We got to trade and get what we wanted. And I got a lot of, like I said, a lot of ones that I hadn't tried before, that I'm really excited about. So you'll see those in, like I said, it's in the queue now, so we'll be coming on there. And then once I got home and actually looked at them, these are like cask strength, single barrel, special release. These aren't their basic, whiskeys that they're just trying to get out on the shelf. These are really nice whiskeys that they're donating, so that was super cool. So that was, made my night, literally made my night. And I was like, sweet. So they put it all in a box for me, and I'm carrying it, and I'm like, this is heavy. There's a lot of whiskey in here. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I got what I wanted out of it. And by this time it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And so we're like, all right, so we say bye to the in-laws, and they had about an hour drive still. So they had a really good time, I think, I hope. But they had about an hour drive home, so we had about a 10-minute drive, so it wasn't as big of a deal for us. So we get back to the room, and of course covered in dust, stuff like that from the road, and so we're taking a shower, and then all of a sudden, by this time it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. At home, my mother-in-law is watching our kids for the weekend, and we all of a sudden we get a phone call, and I'm like, oh crap, now what? Like, don't what's going on? So she calls and says that they're having really bad weather here at the house, and we're like, oh, okay, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're like, what do you want us to do about it? We can't come home. It's like almost 2 hours away. We can't come home, just because of bad weather. Well, they didn't, I guess she was trying to stay calm on the phone. Well, then all of a sudden my daughter starts texting me and was like, hey, look at this. And there is anywhere between golf ball and right under baseball size hail pounding the house. And I'm like, holy crap, why does this happen when we're gone? Like, every time we're gone, something weird happens. When I was at my whiskey sommelier, somebody, they were doing a road to my father-in-law's house who lives in my backyard. They were doing a road back there, and he hit the stupid water line. And of course, I'm in Austin, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it? So they had to fix it. It was crazy. Like, it seems like every time we go out of town, something happens. And so we're like, crap. Okay, so, well, obviously we can't do nothing about it. And we just kept saying, is the power on? Is this, blah, blah. And they're like, well, we think it broke the... Hello. Sorry about that. What the heck? Stuff falling down. They were like, well, we think the window's broken. Hold on. I need to get a little libations. They're like, we think the window's broken. And we're like, no, because there's at our house that they redid the windows. And so the windows have the screen on the outside, like most of them do, and then the window. I was like, it probably just broke the window screen. It's not a big deal. And so about 5 minutes later, they text us a picture of the busted window. And I'm like, holy crap. Do we need to go home? Like, what's going on here? Well, the windows are double pane. It had broke one side of the pane. So I'm like, okay, so there's no active water or air or nothing coming into the house. No. And by this time, the storm had already subsided. And we were like, okay, everybody calm down. I know it's stressful, but there's really nothing you can do about it at this point. So the whole night, we're like up because we're like freaking out because there was another storm coming through at like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And we were like, crap, So and then the neighbor called, and she was like, oh man, there's, all this hail hit, and it knocked out our internet, and blah, 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 and, so like they're freaking out too, and so it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? Like of course we were gone. We didn't know what to do about it, and there's nothing we could do. Like I can't stop the hail from coming or something like that. But that's just how it happens. It's Murphy's Law. Anything that, it will happen. So we were like, holy crap. Okay. So we go to bed finally, and we're like, oh God, what are we going to get into in the morning? So I wake up this morning. I'm recording it the Sunday when we got back, so just to let y'all know. The 23rd. I wake up this morning, and I'm like, okay, I need coffee. For one, I wasn't hungover. I maybe in total had 2 ounces of whiskey all night. You know what I mean? So it's all the samples I was taking was very small, and I poured 1 or 2 out. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say it's sacrilege. Do not ever pour out whiskey. No. Like I've said multiple times in the past, don't let it go there. Don't let it go too far. Know when to stop. Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. No, we're not playing gambler here. And it wasn't like, if I have this, I'm going to be drunk. No, it was like, for one, it was a whiskey that wasn't really great, so I poured it out. Whatever. I'm not going to name any names. You find them out for yourself. If you want that deep dive, I'll go there. But I don't want to talk bad about anybody because they're making their business. Anyway, so I was like, I need coffee. I need coffee bad because there's no telling what I'm going to go home to. So I go. Of course, I wake up early. Go down to the little coffee shop that's there and have the biggest coffee I've ever had in my life, and I'm like, okay, sit there thinking about it, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do, so let's just see what happens. And then we come home, and the first thing I notice, like, we're coming the back way from Austin, and as soon as, like, we live kind of up on a hill, and so as soon as I'm coming up that hill, I don't notice any damage anywhere. I don't notice anything. Well, then all of a sudden we get up this hill, and it looks like snowbanks on the side of the road, which is hail. And then you see like tree leaves all over on the side of the road, just the whole time. And I'm like, holy crap, okay. And so it was like literally really close to our house. So I turn into the house, and we notice like leaves everywhere. In the front gate of our house, there's a cactus, like a big, I don't know what they're called, the round cactus. Anyway, and it had like puncture wounds through it, and we're like, oh wow. So we get to the house, check out the damage, and we're like, wow, okay, never mind. It was pretty bad. And then I felt bad, because I was like, oh, it's not that bad, but it was pretty bad. Broke 5 panes of glass, um, busted the windshield out on my work truck. Luckily, my truck was underneath the carport. Um, it broke stuff that was outside, and there's still to this right now. There's ice dam right at the back door. It's crazy. And then luckily we hadn't planted our garden yet. I know, so for once being a procrastinator has actually helped me. Um, so it just got obliterated. We had a blueberry bush in there that we hadn't even planted yet. We were just trying to get it in there to get it out of the way, and it got destroyed. Unfortunately, it sucks. But and so then I checked on we have chickens, and I checked on the chicken coop, and it hit it pretty hard. I had some chicken wire on the top, and it like broke the chicken wire down. I just had staples in it, so it's not like it was like, Fort Knox or nothing, but I just need to go through and re-staple it. It's not a big deal, but it's like super wet right now, so I'm like, I'll bust my ass going out there right now. And so that's what we had to come home to, and I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? I can't ever leave again. This is, and then of course my mother-in-law's like, I'm never doing this again. Every time I come here, there's an issue and something's going on. The last time, my wife was having surgery, and she watched the kids for us, and when we got home, that was Snowvid, and literally we were out without power for 26 days, so it's like, what the heck is going on? And so she's like, you can't leave again, and I'm not staying here without you again. And so we're like, got it, totally understand. But anyway, all in all, it was an amazing weekend. Obviously there was some hiccups, like there is with everything, but at the same time, oh, I am literally breaking everything. What the heck? At the same time, it was really cool. It was a different experience than last year, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the company, um, and I enjoyed talking whiskey with somebody other than the whiskey people I normally talk to. Like I said, my brother-in-law, he's not a whiskey guy. He might be now, because he was like, man, some of this stuff is dangerous. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, man, it's like so smooth and blah, blah. And he, most people don't drink whiskey straight. It's only the people in the whiskey scene that drink it straight, or neat, or whatever you want to call it. And he was, he was going, like, he was hanging in with the best of them. And I'm like, yeah, once you get past the initial burn, like we've talked about before, you get into all these flavors. And he was rattling off some of them for me, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna make a whiskey nerd out of you one day. And that's not my point. I'm not trying to do that, but at the same time, if I can make everybody a little whiskey nerdy, or at least whiskey curious, then I've done my job. So anyway, I think that's pretty much sums it up. It was a great weekend. I think next year, I'm not 100% on this, so don't come back next year and be like, well, you said this, things change sometimes, but I think next year I'm going to do the VIP one, and that's going to be super cool, because at the VIP you go Friday, and they do like a special dinner for you, and they release like the super secret barrel that they're thinking about releasing or something like that, and you get like special pours, and it's super cool. So I'm thinking about that. It's obviously a lot more expensive, but at the same time, this is not a job, but it's kind of a job for me to bring this whiskey knowledge to you guys and me. I want to know. So that experience is in the future, as well as a lot of other things. I have about 20 or 30 different topics right off the top of my head of, content for us to do on this podcast. So I really hope you guys stick around for that, because it's only going to get better, like I've said for the past 6 episodes. And I hope it has got better, and I hope it's got more entertaining and stuff like that. There's some days, some days it I don't want to say it feels like a job, because it doesn't. But like last weekend, the one I just released, it wasn't. I didn't make myself do it, but I was exhausted from working in the garden all weekend, and it was just it was a little rushed for me. Which it's fine. We talked about some good topics, and it was fine. But I hope to slowly get better and better and better at this, to where I'm creating better content for you and for myself. Something I can put my name on, which I hope I am right now. And then something that's enjoyable for you guys to listen to, because that's the other thing. If you don't listen, then what's the point? I mean, I'm still going to be talking to myself, so it's not a big deal. But at the same time, I want you guys to listen. And another thing I would like to ask, and I know I ask a lot of you guys, is go to Spotify. If you're on Spotify. If you're not, I don't. Either way, go to both, but Spotify, Apple's, whatever you're on, and follow me, because it makes it looks good for the algorithm and stuff like that on the podcast apps, because I'm trying to get my user amount up on that, so that they can recognize me as a legit podcast and not just their redheaded stepchild that talks about whiskey. I'm not trying to be Bourbon Pursuit. I'm not trying to be any of these other ones that are killing it in the whiskey world. I want to present my content to you the way I feel it needs to be presented, and hopefully you like it. And from what I've seen through the demographics that I've seen, it's getting there, and I really appreciate all those ones who listen, and they continue to listen. I appreciate that, because it makes me want to do this even more. And so I guess as the closing arguments, as you guys well know, follow me on everything at _whiskey shaman. Tonight I will be doing a deep dive of the Texas Whiskey Fest, batch 5, the 5th rendition of the Whiskey Fest blend. Super cool. Monoset and Sun. Crap, I forgot what the other ones were, but it's one of the only ones that's a full malt, I think. So I'm excited to jump into that one, and I'm so we'll see what happens there. I know it's going to be good. I know the Crowded Barrel blenders are freaking awesome. They're doing some good stuff. So, and I do have an extra bottle of that. If anybody wants to go to whiskeybusinessfbg.com and book a tasting, I do have an extra bottle of that. It was sold out, so there is no more, and there will be no more. So if you want some, I can give you a wee dram. But yeah, no, I'm having a really good time doing this, and I appreciate all the help and all the feedback. And if you're liking this, give some feedback. Either DM me or in the iTunes or whatever. Leave a review, a comment, something, just to let me know how it's going, how we're doing. If I need to change anything, please let me know. I stopped doing the music because I feel like the music was interfering with my talking, my rambling on, whatever you want to call it. So if you're like this, make sure you follow, like, subscribe. You know how they all do it. Anyway, until next time, y'all, keep your spirits up. Peace.